Thank you to Ground News for sponsoring this video.
It's just really putting a strain on the business. We did modify hours to keep, the employees safe.
This video captured the 5th time this year Marks has been broken into or vandalized.
So California's theft epidemic, it's just gone from bad to worse. And thieves in this sanctuary state are no longer targeting just high-end stores where they can steal millions in minutes. They're now raiding places like delis and hot dog stands, which sometimes have empty cash registers, which reveals the criminals of this sanctuary state will not stop until the entire place collapses.
An intersection takeover in Bellflower, quickly turning into a burglary free-for-all. New video shows the moments overnight that things at the intersection of Woodruff and Artesia got out of control.
The thieves break the glass at the door and then start rummaging around all three places, going to the cash register and then going to the back room.
What are they stealing?
Wine.
No kidding.
About 10 bottles of wine off the shelf.
So no cash or anything, they're just coming for, wow.
Yeah, the big windows are expensive, the doors are even more expensive.
The fact that these criminal rings are targeting small business owners, local entrepreneurs, some of our most beloved local businesses and families who we support and care about is just infuriating.
Those responsible hopping from a gas station to a beauty store, breaking into ATMs and cash registers. This business owner saying he's now facing at least $10,000 in losses from the break-in.
You know, one thing fueling theft in California is that if you sell what could be stolen property on the sidewalk, it won't wind you up in jail. And what nobody wants to admit is that if you can offload goods anywhere you want on a blanket anywhere in town, theft at small businesses is gonna go through the roof, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Sure, theft is also high at jewelry stores, but the thieves raiding those places aren't selling gold Rolexes on the side of the road somewhere. That would be too suspicious, too traceable, and they'd get tracked down. But when it comes to bottles of wine, detergent, bags of potato chips, and energy drinks, well, if you can immediately offload those for 50% off anywhere you want, it makes sense that those items are leaving small businesses and never returning. And the crazy thing is, burglars are now targeting places that don't even sell products you can remove from the store and resell on a towel. A chicken place got robbed recently, a hot dog stand, a deli, and it now looks like thieves in California, a sanctuary that harbors criminals and federal fugitives, have brought about the end game of progressivism, because even a store with 0 products has things of value inside and may have other items worth taking as well. Perhaps there's money in the register. Perhaps there's a safe full of valuables, or a computer, or a cell phone, or someone's passport or driver's license, revealing that when you're a full-time criminal in a no-consequences environment, it makes sense to break into as many places as you can, because there's a market for just about everything. And that brings us to the real reason no business is safe here, even if it has a safe. We're talking about a place that protects criminals and illegal immigrants. And if you're gonna encourage lawlessness of all kinds, of course you're gonna have crime problems. And even if these criminals get busted, theft here is just a misdemeanor in most cases, which means nobody goes to jail for, say, breaking into a local business and causing thousands of dollars in damages because the amount they stole wasn't quite big enough. Even though the act of breaking into some of these businesses is closing down places progressives think shouldn't have a crime problem at all.
Their name is about as recognizable as their famous orange dome-shaped building. Mark's Hot Dogs has been in business since 1936, nearly 90 years of serving East Side San Jose. But owner Mark McLean says a rash of burglaries is making it hard to keep the doors open.
A hot dog stand. Why is a hot dog stand getting robbed repeatedly? Well, the answer is simple. There's nobody around to stop the crime, and the criminal's not afraid of anything. But this is turning into a statewide epidemic that has residents and local business owners on edge, wondering if crime is this bad today, what are they going to be faced with tomorrow? And sadly, as you're about to see, some of these places won't even be around tomorrow to find out. right after we find out about today's video sponsor. Have you ever finished reading a news story and wondered to yourself, is that really what happened? Because in our insta-news world, it's very easy to get caught in a bubble where you're only being bombarded with one side of a story. I recently discovered this awesome app and website called Ground News. They gather over 50,000 news sources from all over the world and show it in one place. They show you bias rating, factuality, and even ownership for each source that covers a story. Let's take the story of Illinois suing the Trump administration over National Guard deployments to Chicago. We can see that it was covered by over 550 sources. But if you read only the left-leaning sources from MSNBC, they'll tell you that the troop deployment is totally unlawful. But as you can see on the little chart here, they've also got a mixed factuality rating, while WSRP, a high factuality source from the right, shows this same information without the spin and calls it what it is, a challenge to President Trump's plan. And that's why I started using Ground News. They're a great bipartisan source to find truth. Ground News also doesn't have any ads or greedy corporations funding them, just to make sure they stay impartial. Make sure to support them and subscribe by going to ground.news/cash. You'll get 40% off their Vantage plan, which is the same plan I use. You can also scan this QR code right up here on the screen. The link below will also be in the video description. Now let's get back to the video. This is crazy.
Security video shows the burglars smashing their way in through the glass front door. The founder and owner of Dinah's Chicken tells us the suspects quickly realized there was nothing to take after seeing the open register.
There's no money at a chicken restaurant. We take it home or take it to the bank. We don't leave it here for you to take.
After the burglars tore up Pearson's office, Glendale police say the duo smashed their way into El Pavo Bakery 2 doors down. They did it one last time next door at El Ruby Cafe.
So here you got criminals who just broke into 3 businesses and they didn't even find anything, but they didn't even care. You know why? They were passing by, they saw a bunch of stores, and they figured, you know what? Nothing is gonna happen to us if we do this. Nothing did. And you know what? These guys are probably gonna break into more businesses. But even though these criminals came up empty-handed, guess who the big loser is here? This wasn't a wash. These businesses all have to repair themselves now. And they had to shut down for a few days while their places got cleaned up, all the broken glass removed, while their interiors were redone. It's just an absolute disaster. And yes, do these places have insurance? I'm sure they do, but deductibles exist. And if their premiums go up because they now operate in a high crime environment, even if these thieves leave empty-handed, the businesses are still worse off after the break-in. Look at this.
Where they again found an empty
Look at them,
register.
they got a crowbar.
It's frustrating, especially when it looks like they're young people.
Police say the suspects only got away with food from the 3 businesses in this strip mall. Investigators are trying to get fingerprints from what the suspects touched and find the car they were seen in on security
video. They don't
video.
even care. This is a strip mall. You got nail care, you got coin-operated laundry, you got restaurants that have food and nothing of value inside, but these places are still getting plundered. But apparently at the chicken place, it's revealed that the thieves went through the back office, which means they were rummaging around. What do you usually find in an office? You find details of employees, you find social security numbers, copies of people's driver's licenses, passports, you find money, you find banking information. So there may have been more going on here than meets the eye. And these criminals, they still may have left with information they can sell to hackers or scammers out there on the dark web somewhere. But sadly, some of the other burglaries that have happened recently have an even less sophisticated ending in mind. Look at it.
After they've been repeatedly smashed in by vehicles.
They sell chips and
this
soda.
is the 3rd time we've been broken into within a year.
What are they stealing?
Wine.
No kidding.
About 10 bottles of wine off of the shelf.
So no cash or anything. They're just coming for. Wow.
You know, the big windows are expensive. The doors are even more expensive, and of course, we're incurring the expense.
What maybe ends up as a few $100 in wine stolen costs Antipastos around $5,000 to repair each time.
That's crazy. So these guys have spent $15,000 in repairs to protect $300 worth of wine that's been stolen over a 3-month period. That's not survivable. You can't survive that. And the problem is the amount of products that the criminals are stealing that qualifies as a misdemeanor. A couple $100s worth of stuff. We won't jail that person. No, we'll let them stay out on the street. That's why these places are getting cleaned out. The criminals get a free pass when they do this, but the businesses don't. And it's the damage these criminals cause to the rest of the store that's shutting these places down. I mean, they would almost be able to stay open and survive if the criminal showed up and had a shopping bag and the people in the store just said, here, take what you want and just leave. Just don't break anything. Like, if they were to surrender to the criminals, they might almost have a better chance of staying open. How ridiculous is that?
And other small businesses are not immune. We reported on the jewelry store robbery that occurred just a few weeks prior to the Antipastos incident. Many in the community want to see more done to prevent these crimes from happening.
These are our neighbors that are being attacked. Our city has grown, and we need to keep up with that growth. We need to have more policing. We need to have more protection.
Councilmember Peter Ortiz represents this district.
Okay, so she says the city has grown. Who are these new residents? That's my first question, that are breaking into these businesses. But the other thing is, if you had a jail and you filled it up with these people, they wouldn't be out here doing this. Do you think these guys, or this guy right here stealing bottles of wine, you think these people got up one morning and said, gee, I'm either going to put on a suit and tie and go to the office today, or I'm going to steal bottles of wine. These are my two options. Which one am I going to pick? No, these are people that have done this before. They smashed their car into the door of this place. These are experienced criminals. And why are they experienced? Well, because nothing's ever happened. Nothing's ever been done to stop them from doing this.
But regulars say crime in the area has become a serious problem.
Right down the street, we've been having a lot of car break-ins and where we live at.
Oh, yeah?
We should have a better police monitoring of this area.
I don't know why we're having all these hits at these restaurants. It seems like we're not the only one that's been hit.
Mark's Hot Dogs isn't the only San Jose staple dealing with burglary issues. We told you about Antipastos and their recent thefts. It's a trend that San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan calls concerning.
Yeah, it's definitely concerning. But look, if you're not sure why businesses are getting broken into, you can trace it back to the fact that none of the people breaking into anything have ever been taken off the streets. If those people that are experienced enough to break into a place multiple times in a row, that are experienced enough to crash a car through the front door of a place, steal stuff, and run away, people that are willing to do that, if they haven't been taken off the street by now, they're just going to keep doing it. None of what we're seeing here is normal. And all of these activities that we're witnessing, these aren't first-time offenders. If they get caught, maybe it's their first time getting caught. But these people didn't get up one day and say they're going to ram a truck through the window of a store. No, what happened here is the system in California taught these people that escalating levels of criminal activity are perfectly acceptable. You know why? Because people can go to a gas station and they can clear that place out and the cops don't come. And then they can go to a deli and they clear that place out and the cops don't come. They could break into 3 businesses in a strip mall, clear them out, cops don't come, and then they could break into a jewelry store if they want to. And you know what? Maybe then the cops come, but the payoff was so big and they've got so much experience, it was almost worth the risk. This is how these criminals are thinking.
This is home security video from just last night outside a home in the Cambrian neighborhood of San Jose. As you see, they calmly approach the parked cars and without breaking windows or locks, begin rummaging for valuables.
How'd they get in?
One neighbor, who asked us not to use their name or face, said he couldn't tell for sure, but believes he might have seen them outside his home late last night.
The case in the
There
place.
were some kids in there. One was out of the car, one was in the car. And when they saw me, I yelled at him, get out of here. And one of the kids jumped.
So this is the same thing that we saw taking place at the chicken place. People broke into these cars, rummaged around, and left. Just like they broke into the chicken place, went for the cash registers, didn't find anything, rummaged around in the back office. Maybe they found something, maybe they didn't. We're not being told. But it's the same type of activity. People are practicing their criminal skills on businesses, on apartments, on vehicles parked out in front of apartments and homes. It's ridiculous. Everything that can be broken into here, it's going to get broken into at some point in time. And you know what? Those cars that are getting rammed through the front of businesses, where do you think those cars come from? This is where they come from, people's driveways. Those are stolen vehicles. But apparently, since we don't want to punish break-ins, we're also teaching people how to become expert car thieves in the state of California. By decriminalizing crime and punishing nobody, we've given people all the tools they need to get a master's degree in crime in about 6 weeks.
Another neighbor also captured video of break-ins. In this one, you can hear sounds of the break-in. This is the second time in a week people here contacted NBC Bay Area to tell them about a rash of car break-ins. Several people said they were victims and that this isn't the first time their vehicles have been hit. San Jose police said at that time they were not aware of any burglary ring operating in the area. They did not respond to our request for comment today.
The police not being aware of a crime ring, I mean, there are so many crime rings. They can operate wherever they want. We're talking about a sanctuary state here that protects every kind of criminal you can imagine. The residents here say they've been hit before. Police say they have no idea. That doesn't surprise me. And you know what? That's not even the fault of the police. We're talking about a place that is a training ground for criminals, a place that protects them and elevates them to some of the most hardened thugs in the entire country. Of course, the police. I mean, think about this. A police officer has to stop crime. They go through the police academy. They graduate. They get a badge. They're out there on the streets. They got, their training and a few months of experience. They're competing with criminals that have been stealing since they were old enough to walk. I mean, they're unprepared for the level of crime that's out there. And what these videos really show us is that the criminals we're looking at here, they're getting tons of experience, robbing places and then escaping, which just makes them better the next time they go to rob a place and need to escape. And to stop all this crime, you got to stop enabling the criminals. You have to start taking away people's freedom when they do something that's wrong. If somebody breaks into a business and causes tens of thousands of dollars in damages, they should lose their freedom. They shouldn't get a slap on the wrist. They shouldn't be set free with a promise to pay this stuff back. They should either pay for the damages or go to jail. Right there, you'd solve your crime problem. The problem is we release too many criminals. We keep setting them free. We got a justice system here that says, you know what, these people, any of us could find ourselves breaking into a car one day, and if we got arrested, would we want to go to jail forever? No, of course not. So why should these professional thieves go to jail forever? That's the thinking here, is that criminals are just normal people. The thinking here is that they should be protected because they're just like us, but they're not. They're the ones robbing into our cars and our homes. I think the only thing they understand are jails and jumpsuits, and I think the more of them that experience that, the less crime we're going to have in sanctuary cities and states across this country. What do you think? Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.